In this video, we've got massive battleships, crazy sea monster, and loots galore, all wrapped up in a free-to-play Battle Royale package. Hey folks, Teiwaz here, back with another game review. Today we're going to take a look at Maelstrom, a free-to-play Battle Royale that's available right now on Steam. In Maelstrom, there are currently 3 different fleets to choose from: the humans, orcs, and dwarves, with more planned for the future. With each of the different fleets, there are 3 different ships to choose from. First up, we have the sloop. Now, the sloops are the smallest and fastest of the 3 classes. They excel at the quick guerrilla-style attacks, but have lower armor than the other 2 classes. So if you choose this class, try the hit-and-run tactics, and don't stick around too long for the larger ships to light you up. The frigate is our next class of ship, and this one is probably the most popular at the moment. They're quick, maneuverable, and hit really hard, but all of them share the same weakness. Their front and backs are quite vulnerable to harder-hitting ships. And finally, the battleships are the largest of the 3 classes, boasting the most amount of armor and firepower, but are also the slowest, least nimble of the classes. Their large size usually makes them an easy target for the much smaller and faster ships. With these behemoths, you'll have to rely on range and a really good strategy to win. Like how each class of ships has its advantages and disadvantages, each fleet is very different. The humans tend to be long-ranged fighters with pretty accurate and powerful weapons. The orcs tend to be much more violent, relying a lot on boarding and ramming their enemies. Their cannons are pretty inaccurate with a wide spread. The dwarves have the most maneuverable ships of all 3 fleets. They don't rely on sail and wind power like the others do, allowing them to move their ships forward and backwards where the other 2 can only go forward. Along with the different classes and fleets, your ships can be upgraded for gold in order to increase your power rating and jump up in the ranks. Your ships can also be equipped with captains that all have their own special abilities and crew members that give different bonuses. Everything from increased speed to sail health to ramming damage and a bunch more. Now that we went through all that, let's talk about the game itself. Maelstrom is kinda like if Assassin's Creed Black Flag had a baby with Ring of Elysium, and I'll pop this free-to-play game. So currently you can play solos or in teams of 3. While playing, you'll have to try to take out 12 other players in order to win. While you're scouring the 7 seas for plunder and battling other players, there are boon ships to keep your eye out for. These boon ships, like their name would suggest, drop buffs to boost your ship's stats. First up, we have the Windcatch Skiff. These little guys are pretty quick and drop the speed buff to boost the top speed of your ship. Next up, the Goblin Raider. These little steam ships pack quite a punch and drop the firepower buff to boost how strong your cannons are. Next up, the Armored Galleon. This galleon is a pretty easy target. Moving slowly and having pretty minimal firepower, they drop the armor buff that increases how much hull armor your ship has. And finally, the Treasure Galleon. This boon ship is a little tougher than the others, but absolutely worth going after. The Treasure Galleon drops all the buffs, plus a little extra cheddar compared to the others. These boons can be stacked up to 10 times, and each of them gives roughly a 5% increase to their respective stat. These boons are reasonably easy to get a hold of, and actually make a massive difference in the outcome of your match. Trying to take on a fully booned out battleship is always a scary proposition. While fighting, there are 3 stats you'll want to keep your eye on: armor, sails, and crew. Your armor stat indicates how much health that specific area of your ship has before your hull starts taking damage and your ship sinks. You can see how much armor your ship has by the 4 white areas around the hull of your ship. Once the white bar is no longer there, your hull in that area will start to take damage. Once your hull health is completely depleted, you'll be sunk. The sails are a stat that are indicated by the blue bar on the left side of the screen and determines the maneuverability of your ship. Once your sails are shredded, you're basically a sitting duck. Your speed and acceleration are cut dramatically and movement will be very slow going. Your crew stat is one of the more offensively important stats. Represented by the red bar, it determines how fast you reload your cannons and get the next volley off. Without an active crew, you won't be able to fight back against your aggressors. Utilizing a good strategy, one of the smaller sloops could easily outmaneuver and take out one of the larger battleships. Each ship within the 3 current fleets has their own advantages and disadvantages, so be sure to strategize and not just rush into your death against a bigger, better, and more booned out ship. Personally, I've had a lot of fun playing this variant of the Battle Royale genre. From the intricacies of choosing your crew to the intense clusterfucks that happen in the middle of the map where all the players congregate, this is something I've been hoping for since I first played Black Flag and thought to myself, this would be incredibly fun in a PvP situation. Like most Battle Royale games, there's a shrinking zone. However, unlike the other games, you don't just take tick damage over time. This zone doesn't fuck around, and a giant Murkwater Thrasher will send you down to Davy Jones' locker. Along with the Thrasher, there's a giant turtle titan called the Brine Maw that floats around certain maps waiting to get a hold of your ship. Unlike the Thrasher, the Brine Maw can be killed, and once this monster is killed, it just splatters gold all over the place, so it's absolutely worth going after. Like I said, I had a lot of fun playing this game, but there are a few things that got under my skin. The biggest being that while playing in teams, I've noticed that you only get the gold that you pick up. After doing 20 or so different matches and testing each of them to see what kind of gold I would get, I've concluded that you only receive the gold you've collected. After doing tons of matches and intentionally letting my teammates collect the gold, I would receive none of the supposed shared loot. If you're a battleship like the Furies hold and are playing with much smaller, faster ships, the chances of you receiving any of the loot is actually pretty small. I've played entire matches, won, and have received 0 gold from the match, so that in itself proves that gold is not shared. If you're trying to be a pirate, enjoy naval warfare, or just want to try out a different spin on the Battle Royale genre, Maelstrom is a great free-to-play game to check out. I'll make sure I leave the Steam link down in the description below, or you can always search Steam for Maelstrom. So that was the Naval Battle Royale Maelstrom. Have you guys had a chance to check this one out yet? Drop your comments down below to let me know how you feel about this game. Like it, dislike it, let me know where you stand. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here and get to work on the next one. Have a great rest of your day, or night, depending on where and when you're watching this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later!